They'll never tell you this, not your friends, not your father, not even the women you chase. But today, I'm going to tell you something that will change everything you thought you knew about attraction, power, and control. Because if you don't understand what I'm about to reveal, you'll keep giving your energy to women who only take, lose sleep over texts that never come, and become the man she forgets the second you walk away. But the moment you hear this truth, and I mean truly hear it, you will never be seen the same again. Not by her, not by any woman. What if I told you that every woman, no matter how emotionally secure, independent, or high, she appears, carries a specific weakness that most men never learn to access? Not through force, not through seduction, but through something far more dangerous, something so powerful she won't even realize she's drawn to it until she can't unsee you. Keep watching, because what you'll learn by the end of this video is not about tricks or tactics, it's about energy. It's about mastering the one quality that turns silence into dominance, absence into obsession, and calmness into command. You will not hear this anywhere else, and when you do, it will hit differently, because deep down, a part of you already knows you were never meant to chase. You were meant to be chosen, but only once you become the man who understands what every woman craves, yet can never control. Stay to the end. The moment of awakening is coming, and once you see it, you'll never be blind to it again. Every woman has a trigger point that defies logic, something deep within her that responds in ways even she can't always explain. It's not grand gestures, lavish gifts, or empty promises. It's the quiet, unshakable force of a man who can hold himself in emotional discipline. Not silence out of punishment, not detachment out of spite, but presence, anchored, steady, grounded. That kind of man doesn't react impulsively to her moods. He doesn't crumble when she pulls away. He doesn't beg for attention when she becomes cold. And ironically, that's the moment he becomes magnetic. When a woman tests you emotionally, and yes, she will, she's not always doing it consciously. It's her way of probing for stability. She wants to know, can you handle her chaos without becoming chaotic yourself? Can you meet her emotional wave with calm instead of collapse? Because when you can, you become the thing she didn't know she was searching for. A container for her emotions without becoming consumed by them. That is rare, that is power, and that is her weakness. You see, we live in a world that teaches men to perform, show off status, money, bravado. But none of that holds weight when she's emotionally triggered. None of that keeps her coming back when her soul is asking, do I feel safe here? A man who has emotional discipline doesn't need to yell, doesn't need to chase, doesn't need to prove himself. He knows who he is, and that knowing creates a calm she can feel even when you say nothing, especially when you say nothing. The most dangerous thing to a woman's emotional walls is not love, it's consistency. It's a man who doesn't spiral when she shuts down. A man who doesn't throw guilt or threats when she pulls back. A man who can say with his actions, I will not be moved by temporary storms. That's the man who makes her soften, surrender, and return without needing to be asked. Because that kind of man is not reacting from his wounds, he's leading from his core. That's the difference, that's the shift, and this isn't about manipulation. This isn't about pretending to be calm to get her to chase you. That's weak. Women can feel when it's fake. Emotional discipline isn't an act. It's a practiced truth. It's the result of a man doing the inner work, not just to attract women, but to become the kind of man he respects when no one's watching. When you master that, you no longer seek control, you become it. So if you really want to understand what breaks down a woman's defenses, stop focusing on what you can say to impress her. Start focusing on what you can hold when things get hard, because the man who can stand still in the fire is the one she never forgets. There's something undeniably powerful about a man who simply refuses to be controlled. Not out of ego, not from cold indifference, but because he understands who he is, and that understanding cannot be shaken by someone else's behavior. That man is her deepest temptation and her greatest challenge, because what every woman feels, even if she never admits it, is that she's emotionally drawn to the man she cannot predict. The one who doesn't move based on how she treats him, but based on the truth he holds within himself. When a woman realizes she can't manipulate a man emotionally, something shifts inside her. The walls she built with other men start to crack. She begins to notice things. She watches the way you don't chase her when she becomes distant. She notices that your tone doesn't change when she tries to trigger you. And the more she observes that strength, the more her old patterns lose power, because the typical woman is used to seeing men bend under the weight of her silence. She's used to controlling the dynamic with withdrawal, mood swings, or emotional games. But when that no longer works, she doesn't feel frustrated. She feels exposed. And in that moment, she has to either rise into emotional maturity or walk away. Either way, she'll never see you as average again. What women truly want, but rarely verbalize, is a man who is emotionally sovereign, a man who isn't reactive to temporary drama, a man who can hear her words but still read between them, a man who doesn't flinch when she tests him. That kind of presence is what separates boys from men, and that kind of presence cannot be faked. It's the result of knowing your values, standing in your principles, and refusing to compromise your peace for fleeting approval. Let me make it plain. The man who is immune to manipulation is the man who has the most power in any room. Not because he's trying to dominate, but because his energy commands respect. She doesn't need to agree with everything you say, but when you refuse to be emotionally swayed, she will respect you. And from that respect, attraction grows. Not surface attraction, not momentary interest, but deep, primal, lasting desire. The truth is, the more she can move you, the less safe she feels around you. The more she can control your energy, the less she trusts your leadership. And that's why men who are unbothered, composed, and emotionally consistent are irresistible. Not because they're trying to impress her, but because they refuse to abandon themselves. If you want to be unforgettable, stop trying to control her emotions. Start mastering your own. Because the man who can't be moved becomes the man she can't stop thinking about. We've been conditioned to believe that if you want a woman to stay, you have to work endlessly to keep her happy, text her more, compliment her more, buy her more, give her more. But the truth is far more unsettling and far more liberating. A woman doesn't truly stay for the man who constantly pleases her. She stays for the man she deeply respects. And the irony is that respect is rarely born from comfort. It's born from tension. It's born from boundaries. It's born from watching you choose your peace over pleasing her. Most men don't realize that the moment you start sacrificing your truth to keep her close, you start becoming invisible to her. She won't say it. She may even seem appreciative at first. But somewhere deep down, the respect begins to erode. Because when a man bends every time she pushes, what he's really saying is, I will trade myself just to keep you. And that is never attractive to a woman on a soul level. She may smile, she may stay for a while, but inside, she's already emotionally disconnecting from the man she once admired. You want to know when a woman truly softens. It's when she sees a man who doesn't flinch in the face of discomfort. A man who can love her deeply, but still say no when something crosses his boundaries. A man who can hold her, but not lose himself trying to fix her mood. That's when the switch flips. That's when her nervous system relaxes, because she no longer feels like she's emotionally responsible for leading the relationship. She trusts that you've got it, and that trust is what turns her vulnerability into connection, not manipulation. Some women will test you, not because they want to ruin the relationship, but because they want to feel your frame. They want to feel that you are still centered, that if they become emotional or irrational or disconnected, you won't collapse or chase or beg. You'll hold your ground. That's the moment her mask drops. That's when her guard dissolves, because now she knows this man can lead. Not just her, himself. Don't mistake this for harshness. This isn't about being emotionally unavailable. It's about being emotionally regulated. She doesn't want a man who doesn't feel. She wants a man who knows how to feel without losing his direction. And that's a rarity. That's why the men who master this become unforgettable. Because they don't give a woman what she wants in the moment, they give her what she needs at her core, safety and strength. So stop measuring your worth by how much she smiles at you. Start measuring it by how deeply you're willing to remain grounded when everything around you is pulling you to break. Because, in the end, the man she loves isn't the one who did everything for her. It's the one who never lost himself doing it.